right. I don't know if this is, let me get this rotated. Okay, as you can see, if you've read in the description, I'm having technical difficulties with my computer. This might be sideways, so I need to figure out how to turn. Without making it all wonky. Might be a little better. It's really dark down here, I feel like. Okay, so like I said before, let me know, is this turn the right direction? I'm having technical difficulties with my computer, so I'm not going to be able to do the dual screen. I'm just going to have to do it all on my phone, so there won't be any scenes of sewing. I tried turning it the other direction, but the way it looks like on the screen is that I got to have it this way. So if someone, when they get on, let me know if it's facing the right direction, or if you can even hear me. That would be great. We'll give it a few minutes. Luckily, the sewing is very minimal, and it won't take me very long, so you won't be staring at an empty screen for too long while I do the sewing. So, like I said, if it is not turned the correct direction, please let me know. It does look a little dark down here. I'm not sure how I could fix that. We're just going to go with it tonight. For some reason, my program that connects my phone and the videoing on my phone and the videoing on my computer, they're not talking to each other, and I might have to delete the app and then reinstall it, and there just wasn't enough time to do any of that before this started. All right, well, we will begin. My name is Julia, and I'm one of the educational designers for Therm on their fabric side. So if you're new here, this is a spiel I give every month, but I also have a blog called Inflorescence Designs, and there you will find not only my Therm projects, but you will also find additional projects and free patterns and tutorials. So, like I said earlier, those who are watching, if this is not turned the right direction, please let me know. I don't want to click any buttons and ruin it. I think this is enough space for what we're doing tonight. I don't need to have the landscape view. So tonight we are going to be making something simple. Month of June has been absolutely crazy for me with Girl Scout camp and vacation, so I made something simple. I'm going to make a catnip toy. It's got like a little pouch in here for the catnip, and what's nice, it's also washable. You'll see in the description there is a link of where I got my inspiration from. The inspiration came from Creative Animal Crafts. They have a YouTube channel. Mine's similar, sewn slightly different with different sizes, and I added these. But tonight I will also not be making the corker ribbons. I have a video that I will upload that was going to play after all this with my computer, but I'll upload it separately on how to make these. The reason I'm not going to add them tonight is I already have one, and things like ribbon and strings should not be left alone with your little kitties because they can pull them out, they can fray them, and then they eat them, and then that's not good. So tonight's isn't going to include that, so that my new little kitty, who we got about a month ago, can play with her toy without me being around. So we will get started. So the first thing you need to do is to cut out your fabric according to the lengths that I put on the blog. You have your main piece, which is 9 inches by 9.5. And it's very similar in size, so I'm actually going to get out my ruler, make sure which direction is what. So this is the 9.5. So 9.5 actually will go on your width, and your 9 inches will be your length. And then you also will cut out the part that will be your pocket, and that is 9.5 by 4.5. And the last thing you need to cut out fabric wise is the interfacing. You can use either woven or non-woven medium weight interfacing. Tonight I had a scrap, so I'm going to be using my non-woven medium weight interfacing, and this is what it looks like. And the other thing you need to cut out is your Velcro, and this is non-sticky, so this is sewable Velcro, and it is 4 inches of both pieces. All right, so the first thing we need to do is you're going to adhere your medium weight interfacing to the back of your large piece. And I had this fabric from, my daughter picked it out last year, and it had a little extra, and I thought it was cute and perfect for tonight's project. So I already have my iron on. And like with all my videos, I like to do just a very basic press on the interfacing side, and then I like to turn it over since the adhesive is on the opposite, and then give it the really good press on this side. All right. We have that. Next thing is we're just going to set this aside. We don't need this yet. We're just going to set that aside. Next, we will be adding the Velcro to our pocket. For this, I am going to be doing a 1/2 inch away from the bottom and a 1/2 inch on either side. So I'm just going to cut, I'm going to tack that in there. And then a 1/2 inch. This little ruler's handy. It's automatically a 1/2 inch. And line it up on the line I drew. And then over here, same thing. And I am using the same piece, but it doesn't matter there which piece you use. Sorry, my table shakes. Okay, so now we have the outline of where I'm going to sew the Velcro. And for this, I'm just going to sew as close as I can to the edge, probably about 1/8 of an inch, all the way around. And again, on this side, all the way around. And for those who are just joining, I had technical difficulties with my computer and phone setup for the dual screen, so you won't get to see me sewing and my crazy bum hairstyle I've got going on today. So I will be right back. I'm going to sew these and get right back with you. Okay, I'm back. Got both of those sewn on. And then there's another part we'll be sewing again. And for this entire project, everything is about a 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch seam. So for this next part, we're going to attach our pocket to our bottom piece, which they're 9 by 9.5, so it's only off by a 1/2 inch. So you got to really make sure you know which side is which. So you'll be sewing down here along the side closest to the Velcro. And that's because we want the Velcro, once we turn it all right side out from being inside out, we want the Velcro right along this edge. So you're going to place them right sides together. And you'll sew about 3/8 to a 1/2 inch seam. Nice thing about this project, it's pretty forgiving. Don't have to make it exact. So I'm going to sew from here to here. So I did do a 1/2 inch seam. You can see it comes right up along the edge of that, a little further away from there. And then we're going to press towards the interfacing. So I'm going to give it just a press right here. And then I like to press this way. And I'm just going to be careful not to get too close to that Velcro. And if anybody has joined, again, technical difficulties, I have it in the description, but I will not be making the corker, putting the corkers on tonight so that my little cat, who we just got a month ago, can play with this without me. This one she would have to play with while I'm watching her so that she doesn't pull them off or ingest them. If anybody has cats, they know if they've gotten a hold of string, they know what that entails. So here we go. And again, for those who are watching, this was inspired by Creative Animal Crafts. Very similar project. I changed my stitching up slightly and the sizes. So once you've got your Velcro and your two pieces sewn together, you're going to fold it over right sides. And for this, you can either match up the Velcro, which if done correctly would match up perfectly, which you see mine doesn't. So I'm just going to try to match up these seams right here, this seam to this seam, without having my Velcro attach itself. Kind of acts as its own little pin. And then I'm going to pin this in place. All materials and measurements can be found on the blog under the post for the Facebook Live. And from here, I'm going to stitch using a 1/2 inch all the way down and then all the way across the bottom. I'll be back. actually want to clarify, I didn't go all the way down and all the way over, because what I actually do is I change up the shape. So you'll notice that it's flat this way, and then it's kind of round, but then it's flat this way. You could sew all the way down and all the way across, and it would just be one long tube. I wanted to change things up and kind of make it more dimensional. So what I do here is, instead of just sewing across the bottom, I'm actually going to pinch it. I'm actually going to find the center first. And to do that, I like to make like a little snip, tiniest little snip. We're doing a 1/2 inch seam, so match up this little notch with this seam. And then I'm actually going to stitch across like this, and that will give me that dimension where it's not like a perfect tube, has multiple sides. So now I will go sew this bottom, which, let me show you again. I came straight down. You could sew straight across, or what I'm doing is I'm taking it, pulling it, matching up the center with that seam, and now I'm going to stitch across with a 1/2 inch seam. And what's crazy is this project's almost done. It would have taken a little bit longer if I had the dual screen, because then I could have checked up on things, and I was going to play my video that shows you how to make these. But with the technical difficulties, we'll have to go with the flow. And I see a Kate Highland is on, and I want to tell everybody that she is my amazing baby sister. So I'm excited to see her on here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to stuff it with some fiberfill. You just open up that Velcro and you're just going to stuff it right down in there. And you can stuff it as much as you want. You do want to have a little bit of space, so when you insert the pocket, you have room for that catnip. And I am actually going to clip these corners as well. I'm getting ahead of myself. Right now, with what I've added, I'm to about that much stuffing. And remember, once this is, oh my goodness, I'm having a day. This whole technical difficulties throw me for a loop. I didn't even turn this thing right side out. You know, Facebook Live and all. So now I've got fuzzies all over everything. I have everything meticulously planned out for these, and then I get thrown for a loop. That's all right. Makes it more interesting. So there, let's get all that fuzzies off. Now we will stuff it with the fiberfill. Isn't that cute? My youngest daughter is going to absolutely love this. She's obsessed with cats and unicorns. So now we will stuff it with the fiberfill. And these are great for cats. I think they're called cat kickers. They're long enough so that they can like kind of bite where the catnip is, but then they can kick with their feet. If you have a cat, you know what I'm talking about. They will grab on and bite something and use their back legs and kick crazily. So I think I'm going to add a little more fiberfill. Don't need to add a lot of catnip. Enough for your kitty to have some fun, if that's what they like. I have learned not all cats react to catnip. I've had cats that love it. I've had a cat that it didn't mean anything. So, all right. So I'm about, let's see where I'm about. Fiberfill to about right there. So it's about a good inch of space. So we are now going to close it and essentially be finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn under our raw edge. It really doesn't matter. Mine's probably about, it's about 3/4 of an inch in there. You can make it smaller. Like I said, this project's very go with the flow. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's for your cat. And they're just going to bite and scratch it. So we're going to just press it. And the last thing to stitch is across here. There we have, I did about around the 1/8 of an inch just to close it. And the last step is to simply tuck your pocket in and flip this under. And the cats also, they're gonna love that crunchy sound. And there it is. Now if you were to add your ribbons or whatever else you want, you can just do plain ribbons. You can do, they have those like ribbons with little balls on them, all sorts of things. You would add that in this seam down here. And if you put the ribbons, I highly recommend you back stitching, double, triple stitching so that it's very secure. So just for fun, I actually do have some catnip. I'm going to throw it in there, make it official. Now my kitten, who this is for, her name is Sylvie. She is only about 10 or 11 weeks old, so this might not even affect her yet. From what I was reading, it doesn't really affect kittens. Who knows, it could. I've never introduced her to it. So we're just going to put, that might be a little too much, a little bit in there. Push it down and close. And what's really nice is the way that's been made. I won't do it with this one, but let's say your cat gets it all dirty, or who knows, you know, some cats like to just lick and if that catnip up in there. All you'll need to do is pull this out, get all the catnip off, and throw it in the washer. All washed. Now I'm going to actually hit some buttons, so I'm going to just leave these up here. I don't know if I can see comments, if there has been any comments. I've never done a Facebook Live with just my phone. I've always had the computer to see what's going on. I don't. Kate Highland, if you're watching, can you put a comment to see if I can see a comment? And I'll assume if I don't see one, then in the next couple minutes that I don't know how to see comments. I don't want to click anything that would like shut it down. But we are finished. Very simple. If there is comments being made and I can't see what they are, I will go back once this live is finished and answer any questions. I will link anything that needs to be linked. Like I said, I truly am sorry. I am in uncharted territory when it comes to just using my phone for Facebook Live. And I will also include the video that I made on how to make the corker ribbons if you are interested in for either your cat toy or for any other projects that you might find them to be used for. So I'm going to leave this on for a couple more minutes in case there are any questions that are added. I always like to ask too if anybody has any suggestions for these lives. I am greatly appreciative. They help me come up with either, with project ideas or which products to use. I know applique was mentioned for one, and I'm definitely going to do that, but that was a huge process to do that for a live video. And with the month of June being super crazy, I'm holding it off until either July or August. But if anybody else has any suggestions, I know I'm really interested. I saw another designer use the Deco Foil transfer gel, and I was going to look into that because I've never used the transfer gel. I've only used the hot melt adhesive to apply that shiny Deco Foil. Just Deco Foil in general might be a fun one to do on here. Let me know if that's an interest to anybody. It makes things so shimmery and shiny and very pretty. So just to recap, this is the product that I used, medium weight. This was non-woven, but you can use woven. Either one works. The non-woven is great because if it can be put any direction you want. It doesn't have to be with the grain of the fabric. If you use woven, you need to make sure it's with the grain line of the fabric, the way that the weave of the fabric is. All right, I'm going to close up shop here in just one more minute or so. Just leaving it open for any additional questions. And again, as I just want to give credit to Creative Animal Crafts, where I got my inspiration from. The link to their video is in the description. Mine is slightly different with sizing and how it is sewn, but that is where I got my inspiration on the washable cat toy. All right, well, I hope everyone enjoyed, and hope to see you next time under better circumstances that my computer will work for me. I'm sorry you all missed. I have this crazy hairdo going on right now, and I wasn't even going to change it. You all missed it. But that is it, and I'm going to finish and turn us off. So until next time, have a great night.